What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Cigars and Everything Else podcast. We in episode 34.
34? Yeah.
D, where we at, man? Where we at? What you thinking?
I mean, sure. How many ways can we go? How many ways can we go?
Hey,
we got a lot, right?
We can go 3 different sports on this one.
Who you liking? Charles Barkley?
I like Chuck.
Sir Charles?
But I don't want to go with Chuck. I don't want to go with Chuck. I'd rather go with Dream over Chuck, man. Akeem the Dream. You know what I'm saying?
Could do that too.
You go
We can
Shaq.
do that too.
Nah.
Nah.
We can go Walter Payton.
The Diesel?
We can go Walter Payton.
We haven't gone that route before. Why not?
Payton. Yeah.
Throw a nod to the legend. One of the best to run it.
Got to. You know what I'm saying? It could be the Paul Pierce episode.
One of the ugliest games. No, we can go with this.
One
of the ugliest games I've ever seen.
Yeah. Now Paul Pierce falls in that same category as a Karl Malone from episode 32, but not quite as Karl. But Karl, as far as our feelings about him as a player, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't have personally. It's a Karl thing. Like Karl Malone is more of like a person. Like I don't like his game, or you know what I'm saying. Just him as a, you know what I'm saying. But with Paul Pierce, his aura, yeah. But Paul Pierce is more of like, I just don't like to watch him play. Like, you shouldn't be able to make that shot. Like, you shouldn't have been able to score that. Like that. No, you just eye test. You don't look like you should be able to play ball, just from the way I see it. But he makes it happen, so I can't be but so mad. He's like, how you let him do that to you? Right. But he's still nice. So I get that. So he nice.
You know, the thing is interesting about Paul for a reason. Interesting thing about Paul Pierce, right? Me and my dad, we was shooting ball not too long ago, a few months back. And we noticed that we just don't got the spring in our shots no more. We don't use our legs to shoot like we need to. And our shots is coming up a little short. You know what I'm saying? So it makes me just wonder, how did Paul Pierce make a career jumping 1 inch off the ground and making all those jump shots, man? Like with no legs.
Killing it. No legs.
Incredible player. For that reason alone, I got to give him his props, man, even though it's terrible to watch in real time.
But those shots was going in. He was cooking folk.
Yeah,
he was cooking folk.
The original step backer, in my opinion, I got to give it to him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He was stepping back before stepping back was a thing like that. But he don't get this episode. He don't get this episode. I'd give it to Ray Allen.
What about
his ex-teammate?
You took that one from me. I was going to say him. I was going to say Shuttlesworth.
Yeah, Jesus Shuttlesworth, man. You know, Kirby Puckett.
Hold
up. Hold on, Ricky Williams. We got a lot of options. We can go this way, man.
Options. This could be the Ricky Williams episode. Talk about that one.
We smoking. You know what I'm saying? Not the same substance, but we are smoking.
Not the same.
They use our leaves for what they smoke. You know what I'm saying?
Is he a brother of the leaf, or do we consider?
Like a fourth cousin. Brother of the leaf is
fourth cousin?
Ricky Williams would be. Yeah, fourth cousin.
Sort of related. You know what I'm saying? Twice removed.
Yeah. But he's like the disrespectful family member that come in and steal from you and stuff like that, man. You know, because they don't respect the leaves that we smoke, man. You know, definitely not cigar smoke aficionados. They break it down. You never give Ricky Williams a coheed. He gonna break it down and
he gonna cut it open. Such disrespect to the leaf. Come on, man. You can't disrespect the leaf like that.
Right. But anyway, man, I'm not going to keep naming names. I'm sure we can come up with at least 1 or 2 more good ones.
Oh, we can go all day.
What was that?
We can go all day. I said we can go all day.
Sure.
So who we settling on?
David Ortiz. Like there's some players out here with the number 34, man, across all the sports, man.
Yeah, man.
You know, I say Walter gets it, man. Walter Payton.
All right. Let's shoot it over to football. That's cool.
Yeah,
let's do that.
Yeah. If we go from basketball, I go with
It is football season. Football season is back.
Yeah, it's football season. But if we go with basketball, I'm going with Dream. So
okay, I could respect that. Probably, in my opinion, the most athletic.
I think rocked 34 too, didn't he?
Did he? I have to look that up. I can't say off the top of my
34?
head. He did. He definitely did.
Yeah.
Let's get this to one of him.
You want Bo to have it? Bo knows?
Walter,
Bo was a bad boy on Tecmo Bowl, man.
The whole Raiders squad, man.
Yeah.
That's who you wanted the ball with, man. The whole Raiders squad. Tecmo Bowl to get it in. They get it in.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Man, yeah.
Anyway, my name's Jared. Denzel's my co-host. We done got into the whole show, man. These intros are going longer and longer. Who cares? Hey, look, man, we here to talk some cigars and a little bit of everything else. Let's go ahead and introduce the stars of the show, which are the cigars. This week, I have an old throwback favorite, the Rocky Patel Edge. I forgot they only got this band at the bottom on this.
Yeah,
I got the OG for us.
That's the OG. That's the classic right there. That was the first go-to cigar. The first go-to for me. When it came down to old reliability and knowing I'm going to get a good smoke anytime, I had to have the Edge in the stash.
Yeah, it had a permanent stay in our humidors. I'm going straight cut on mine, by the way.
All right, I went with straight cut on mine. I have a CAO MX2. CAO MX2. So this is the cigar I had picked up. Right. Like one of the athletic ones, right? So it's the black band. I don't know if you ever seen that right there. We've got the black band on it.
Okay.
Nice and blacked out. This was the cigar I picked up last week with the other one, with the Romeo, and decided to go with the Romeo. But then I figured it'd be good to visit the CAO and see how does CAO do other types of cigars. You know, we know them for the flavors. Usually grab them for that effect, but never for a traditional smoke. So I'm kind of interested to see where this one goes as a traditional type of cigar. All right, I'm gonna give you some background on it. So we got a medium profile. It's a Brazilian Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, Maduro wrapper, origins in Nicaragua. So it has ultra dark, super oily Connecticut broadleaf, right? So I'm kind of leery about this super oily, but we're gonna see what happens. We're gonna see what happens. So it's supposed to be two different wrappers though, and a Brazilian wrapper too. So we'll see if we got some spice and some oils. I don't know how it's gonna go, but we're gonna see how CEO handles these complexities, man. It sounds like it's gonna be a complex cigar. Like they stepped outside the flavor, but threw some complexities already, just off the description.
Hey man, you can't be afraid of the oil, brother. The oil is your friend. Ain't that what you love?
Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not.
Hey man, mine is pretty much Honduras. The Rocky Patel, man, Honduran rapper in origin. So that's it for me. But you know, I'm sure a lot of y'all know the Edge, man. This is classic stuff.
Mm-hmm. Straight classy, man. All right, so we toasting
one
up.
match shout.
I'm going straight butane. Are you one with the matches?
Oh yeah. Don't hide your work, man. Show it to the people.
Just toasting. Going straight butane. Got the torch going.
Damn weak ass match gave out by the time I got the damn stick to it. Pardon my language, y'all. I forgot I was doing a podcast. My true feelings came out. There we go.
Okay. I'm actually pleased so far with the first puff.
Oh, yeah?
Definitely not what I anticipated.
Oh,
I anticipated some harshness in the beginning. Yeah. I anticipated some harshness. I anticipated some, sometimes you have to get through that first light and the cigar has to settle. And honestly, this is what I was expecting of CL. I didn't expect them to handle that first light very well. So I was already going into it with not necessarily a negative outlook, but I wasn't expecting the best. And I'm already, thrown off by that. Like it's low expectation. And it's already exceeded that so far. So far, so good.
Okay.
Do we have some initial pepper though? Yeah, that traditional Brazilian wrapper tobacco leaf is kind of giving me a little bit of that pepper vibe.
Yeah.
But so far, so good. Man, so you sent me this
for me, man. This is very familiar for me, man. I'm going back, man. Before let me get mine off real quick before you switch subjects on us. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I just was kind of taking it in, man. Of course, smooth, man. You got some woodiness, man. It's got a little slight bit of spice, but it's so smoothly done. You know what I'm saying? And it's just right at home, man. And I got me some iced coffee to go with it, man, in my styrofoam cup, single cup also, man. But I'm sorry,
single cup still.
Yeah,
you ain't stepped it up yet.
I ain't stepped it up yet. I'm sorry. I wanted to get that off, man. Sorry to interrupt you, man. I'll let you jump back into your thing there where you were going.
Oh no, you good. You good. Sometimes you gotta take it in and let the cigar take you, especially when you have that nostalgia. That nostalgia cigar, let it take you. You know what I'm saying? Just travel with it
for a moment. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so I was just gonna say, I've been seeing this thing online and kind of brought me into thinking about how we treat our exceptional stars as we age and the expectation of how we see each other or see these guys as we age. I've seen them roast Smokey Robinson. You know what I'm saying? My man dancing, getting his grind on, right? It's like, oh man, Grandpa's getting it in, and Smokey ain't Smokey no more. He ain't what he was.
Right.
See the roast of Genuine recently. Got my man with the dancing moves, right? Mm-hmm. Killing it. Well, at least he thought he was. But they killed him in the comments. Like every other day, it seems like I see another post of a Genuine dance with the dance moves, and them just roasting them. Like, what do we expect as these guys age? And that, you know what I'm saying, that expectation that we're having when we're seeing these guys trying to live out their glory, you know what I'm saying, as they go on and they're still performing, still doing what they do. Why do we do that to ourselves?
It's a lose-lose for Genuine and for all the performers. So how do you want me to move? Am I supposed to move the way I was dancing back in the day? If I dance like a young kid, like new school, are you going to look at me and judge me? I look at this old head trying to dance like us young people. I look stupid as an old man dancing like you at 18. But at the same time, you tell me I'm played out if I'm doing what my demographic is doing or did. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a lose-lose. I mean, for him as a performer, he was more dancer than singer. Not saying he was a bad singer, but his reputation came from his dancing, not his vocals per se. Yeah. So
yeah,
he got to keep an element of that. It's like when they were tearing Omarion up a while back. What was it not the verses, but before that, they were like, "Oh, he's still hitting the same dance moves." What you want from him? Like, I know y'all look at Omarion as this young dude, but Omarion's nearing 40. Like, you know what I'm saying? What is he supposed to do? Like,
I mean, but here's the crazy thing. I never felt like Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson hit the same dance moves, and he was still killing it in his 50s. He was still doing this thing. So definitely no shade of how Michael was moving, but he was still killing the same dance moves from the 80s to the 90s to the 2000s before he passed. But you ever seen anybody roast him for his moves, doing the same moves, getting in the same way?
Well,
or
no.
Do you think this is a new school idea of how we're handling our greats?
Yeah, it's new school. It's new school. All without a doubt is new school. And I tell you it's new school because Michael was old and doing his moves from the 70s and 80s when we were this generation's age. And we held it to a high regard. We looked at it like, get him, Mike. You know what I'm saying? Like, we looked at it with reverence of our legend doing what he was a legend for doing. You know what I'm saying? Like
James Brown too.
Same thing. Like I was proud to see that. You know what I'm saying? Because some of their heyday I didn't get to witness as an adult who really understood what I was looking at. So to be able to look at it and understand what I'm looking at and recognize that I'm witnessing greatness was fine with me. But maybe this generation ain't roasting legends. Maybe they just roasting popular people from the past era. Maybe that's what it is. You know, I ain't seen them tearing Beyonce up or nothing like that. You know, Jay-Z is just fine doing what he want to do. Like, you know what I'm saying? They not.
Yeah.
They holding their own legends in a high regard, but I don't know. Maybe it's if you was platinum and that's all you had one platinum album, they gonna get you. Like if Nelly comes out rapping how Nelly rapped back in the day, they gonna tear him up. Like they not gonna hold him as such.
I mean, even in that vein too, you know, I've been hearing about, I think it was DJ Academics. He had this thing, he was, you know, coming down on, you know, hip hop legends and looking at how we look at them. Like, do you feel like they get the respect? Like, say that another genre of music, like the Mick Jaggers, as they age, and you know what I'm saying, rock and roll stars when they get older, get held in that same regard. You know what I'm saying? When before DMX passed, he wasn't X from 1999, 98. You know what I'm saying? He was packaged a little bit different.
Yeah.
But, you know what I'm saying, do we as a culture treat him or those guys the same way as other genres treat their legends and their greats?
That's very well possibly it.
Like LL Cool J was going off about it. Like, you know, this guy's from the 80s, a legend from the 80s.
Well, look at it like this, right?
I don't feel like he gets his respect.
Mary J, when she did the Super Bowl, she got her respect. Everybody showed love and was like, Mary did her thing. You know what I'm saying? She didn't get no hate. So it maybe is not a genre thing. Like I said, maybe it's just a whatever level you want.
Stature thing?
Yeah, stature thing. Now, as far as hip hop, that's different. That might be a genre thing because there's the older generation and this newer generation don't always meet up well. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of head.
Not seeing eye to eye.
It's only a few of the older generation that's coming together and like showing them love. You know what I'm saying? And for the most part, I think that they, you know what I'm saying? You know how it is. If you feel like ain't nobody got no love for you, you ain't got no love for them. So it could be some of that. But what makes it difficult is the older generation is looking at the newer generation and they just don't have a respect for it. And I think if the newer generation, a lot of that comes from if you don't feel like somebody's carrying the ball as far or further than what you did with it when they get the baton. It's just like you disappointed. You know what I'm saying? And I think the older generation is just disappointed with what they did. But in fairness to the new generation, they got to recognize every generation is always disappointed in the new generation. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
it just comes with territory. You just got to keep progressing and not get hung up in that.
Yeah, because every generation is going to feel like their generation was the golden era. Like in my day, you know what I'm saying? And that's a scary thing. We are looking at it. I mean, I hear people talk back about the 2000s. You know how I felt about early 2000s hip hop. Like I wasn't the biggest fan, but even then, I could still. I did not enjoy it in the moment. But now looking back, like I actually enjoy it more than I did then. Now, but it's just the fact that we the way we move through eras and generations and decades, like. Nobody, I don't feel like, not saying nobody, but I don't feel like we have enough respect for that generation prior, enough to carry that to the next level. You know, I'm trying to figure out what a disconnect is with this. I mean, I feel like it's getting worse and worse, honestly. I feel like in the 90s, there was a lot of respect for the 80s, a lot of respect for the 70s. And then as we've been going on decade after decade, it's been becoming more of a disconnect with the prior generation or prior decade.
Well, everybody feels like the next generation is always watering down the culture a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Even if you go back to it, okay, if we go back to, I mean, even going back to classical music, you look at it became what it became, and then it evolves. The music today ain't as complicated as that. So if you drop Beethoven off today, he'd be like, "What are these 3-finger chords you're playing?" Like, you know what I'm saying? He'd just be like, "What are y'all doing?" Like, so
like that's it. What's the rest of it?
That's it. And if you dropped a jazz musician from the teens off today, they'd be like, "What is up with this? This is jazz. This is what you call jazz." Because it's always changing. You know what I'm saying? Like the complexity of the music is always becoming simpler. But as a society, we're looking for simpler. So it is actually in line with technology and everything else. But people just don't. Artistically, people don't enjoy that. You know what I'm saying? They just like, hey, man, we got to keep it alive. And in reality, rappers from the 90s rap better, you know what I'm saying, than rappers from the 80s. But rappers today feel like they rap better than rappers from 2000s and 90s. You know what I'm saying? They feel like that is more complex bars than somebody who might, like a T.I., who might have a more simple structure, but was spitting. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Rhyme schemes were different.
They feel like their rhyme scheme is more technical than what it used to be, because it was kind of like a doom, 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 doom scheme. And now they feel like they outdoing that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Perspective.
It's all about perspective. But I just don't feel. I feel like there's still a disconnect. I don't feel like we hold enough esteem to what the past did for now, and what that past did for now. You know, we look back at our legends. Like, I mean, somebody like a Genuine, man, you can't roast this guy. This man was getting in for years. Yeah. This man was getting in for years. He was the guy. He was the guy at one point. Yeah. You know, and then you fast forward, 30 years later, Pony came out almost 30 years ago. He's about 27 years ago. You know? It ain't gonna look the same. It might not sound the same. But we don't have that. We don't have that kind of respect to say, hey, this was a guy who was doing this thing back in the day. It's like a ball player. You see a ball player hoop. I bet you Allen Iverson game ain't the same. His crossover don't look the same. But are you going to still expect him to do what he was doing in 1996 in 2022? Nah, you're not. I'm not. If I see AI dribbling the ball, I'm not going to roast him because you ain't got that crossover like you. It's a little stiff, a little slow. Right. What do we expect? What are we doing?
And see, I agree with that, because you and I, right? We would see Iverson, and if he hit the crossover, it wouldn't be what it was, but we'd be like, I hit the crossover. Proud, like excited to just see our OGs.
Just to see him dribble, the ball.
Just to see him handle the rock. You know what I'm saying? It would be like, wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would just admire that. But it's different, you know? But once again, maybe there are a few of them that would. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure you get some of these rappers in the studio, if they could just watch Wayne rap, they'd be like in awe. You know what I'm saying? Like, just to have a moment with him.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. They overall, they're in their moment. Ain't nobody better than Drake. You know what I'm saying? He's GOAT in a lot of their eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like, they not gonna hold the past in reverence. I hear a lot of people trash Tupac. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how dare you? Like, but
yeah, how
dare you? Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't even know like what the guy meant. You know what I'm saying? But context is lost, and respect is lost once that happens.
Well, I just disagree a lot with the idea of the fall off and saying that this guy fell off, or you know what I'm saying. If you're in your prime and you're not living up to your expectation, that's a fall off. But if you just simply aged out, you didn't fall off. And I just hate that notion. I hate that notion too. The idea of the fall off. Nah, you just aged up, just aged out. It's not a fall off. If 1 year you was killing it and you're 25, 26, 30 maybe, and then the next year it's a steep decline and you can't do what you was doing just last year on tour, it's a fall off. Nah, you fell off.
Yeah. But yeah, not decades later, you can't say that about him. Look, man, look, think about this example. When Dave Chappelle brought Rick James back, it'd been years since any of us seen Rick, but we were all happy to have Rick back. Rick looked crazy when he came back, but ain't nobody comment on how crazy he looked. We were just happy to have Rick back, you know, being crazy and funny. You know what I'm saying? That was it. Like, I don't know, but everybody want to be a comedian now, you know, turn you to a meme and see if they can get a joke off on you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and that could be it right now too. It's we in this meme society. We're always looking for the next meme. You know, can't do anything regular. You can't live a regular life and just be normal, especially if you're in the spotlight. You quick to become a meme. You know, like how they did Teddy Riley in the Verses a couple years ago. Yeah. Turn that man into a meme. Turn the legend into a meme.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Just a legend, man. But everybody looking to make a joke of him. You know what I'm saying? You know that man ain't good with technology. We ain't good with technology. You know how long it takes us to get the show running every episode? Like, let that man live.
This man's still on 80s, 90s technology. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure whatever technology he got right now, he got somebody else to handle it for him. Hey, get that. Turn that on. Just give me the keyboard and move out my way. You do everything else. Just give me the keyboard and move out my way and watch what I do.
Teddy Riley ain't had to plug a cord in or set up a studio since 86. You know what I'm saying? He ain't had to, this man don't know how to set that stuff up no more. Like,
he don't plug his own cords in.
Right. Think he hit the power button on anything in that studio since 85? Like, he don't know what he doing.
Yeah, like, you show up, everything better be on and hot.
Right. He don't set his own levels. He touched a leveler since 89, man. Teddy don't know about that stuff, man. People. But that's it, though, man. I think it come down to the jokes, man. People want to get their jokes off. And as far as the academics thing, I didn't really look into it too heavy because I didn't want to see that. I didn't want to see the generations play. I didn't even want to look into it. But from what I have gathered, and you let me know if I'm wrong or not, I think academics was kind of calling out the older generation for bad business or something to that effect, and how they didn't do nothing to set up the new generation as far as that go. And why would you want them to keep going down the same path y'all went down and none of y'all got paid? Y'all all broke. I think, is that the general statement? The general,
that's the general synopsis. Yeah. But I mean it's not
truth to it. But you know what I'm saying? Like, at the same time, you gotta respect,
to a degree.
You gotta respect the grind of what they went through, because nobody knew like what they had to go through and figure out.
They got real-time education
on the spot, so you can reap the benefits of it. You know, Hov did that, so you ain't got to go through that. You know what I'm saying? That type stuff, man. Like,
right. But that's the thing. Like, not enough respect, man. Not enough respect reaching back to those guys. They get more blame, more flack for what they didn't do, and then what they're not doing now, or what they're incapable of doing now versus what they was able to do before. We ain't giving a nod enough to the guys doing who did it before. You know.
Yeah. You know, that's
looking
like
more for jokes and memes.
It's like the pilots today going back to the Wright brothers and just taking a dump on them. And you call that flying? Yeah. We didn't learn nothing flying from you.
You call that flying? How long did you fly for? Oh, it was 5 minutes? A 5-minute flight? And you call that something?
Yeah, you can't fly like me. Us pilots today, we get busy. That's what it sounds like. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, well, come on.
How high up we go? You didn't go as high as we do. You ain't in the clouds.
You know, about 20 feet off the ground, that's flying. Like, that's what they saying to them. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, cool, but you know, I created rap, right? Why would you even get on me? You know what I'm saying? Okay, you took it to the next level, but I started it. Like, it's like, if I ain't never heard Iverson take a dump on Tim Hardaway about the crossover. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just because he elevated it to the next level. Like, man, Tim Hardaway is the one who really popularized it. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, that killer crossover.
About, yeah, but because evolution went on beyond him, but they give the credit to
that crossover was madness back then in his time. That crossover was madness.
92 couldn't nobody stop that crossover. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Crossover was madness.
Like, you know what I'm saying? It was simple, but couldn't do nothing with him.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But man, where you at with your cigar, man? How you feeling about old Rocky the Edge, man?
I feel great about old Edge here. It ain't let's see. Yeah. Haven't got too deep into it. A lot of what I'm initially felt, you know, I'm still feeling that. But it's it's so smooth. It's so smooth. You know.
Yeah.
I like the aroma coming off of it and everything, man. It's for a $9 cigar, man, it's done so well, man.
Mm-hmm. That's what's up. That's what's up. Hey, man, this is where I'm at with the CAO, man. Pretty good structure. I got a good ash going. I can't say the same about the aroma. I've never noticed, or I don't know if it's just playing in my mind, the fact that I read that it's supposed to be oily. I am getting a little bit of the oil, but it feels like that oil is also in the aroma. It's something I never paid attention to, of an oily burn in the aroma. Like, you know, like when you burn oils, that's the kind of vibe I'm getting a little bit.
Is that a good thing or bad thing?
It's neither a good or bad thing. It's not something I favor, but it's not something I'm totally turned off by.
Okay.
You know, I prefer that aroma, like what you're probably getting with your Edge, or what I've gotten with a couple of the Javas and the Ligas, the Cohiba, that not so oily but earthy, like oak aroma. That's what I usually love. So I feel like I'm getting some of that oily aroma, which is something I never paid attention to, and something I might have to pay attention to going forward. Anytime I know I have an oily smoke, or if I feel like I have an oily smoke, how's that aroma really playing into it? But it's nothing I completely hate, but it's nothing I favor either. So
I don't hate it or love it. Indifference is never a good thing. Yeah. Indifference usually mean I ain't coming back. But I don't want to jump the gun. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not even going to say that off of that fact. Like, I probably would come back over something that I'm indifferent about, especially when it's just an aroma. Like, is it really affecting the smoke? Not really. It's not enhancing the smoke. That's one thing that a good aroma does. A good aroma enhances that smoke experience. A bad aroma can, but an indifferent aroma, like something I don't really care for, but I don't necessarily hate either or love. It doesn't necessarily kill the smoke. It just doesn't enhance it.
We're gonna see how long that ash stays up there before it's sitting in your lap.
Oh, I was about to tap it off.
Oh, okay.
I'll leave it. We're gonna see. I'll roll with it. Ah, man. So you sent me something couple days ago. It was a YouTube skit. And it was, I guess you could say, graphic in a sense. Graphic in the sense of, I guess, the content of what the person was trying to portray.
Yeah.
And
just come on out with it. Just
say
I'm sure everybody does.
Okay. All right. So it's a skit. Ha Ha Davis, simulating
first time having
time
sex with your partner is what he was
first
doing
time having sex with your partner.
Yeah, and that first initial moment when it begins, what the thoughts are going on in the guy's head,
and going into some graphic thoughts. Like, it's funny because it's true.
Yeah,
and but then came the thought of sort of censorship. Like, where do we limit what we are putting out and portraying for the masses? The masses, right? Like, I know we fought so many years about censorship and being uncensored and unfiltered and being able to express yourself however you need to without limitations, which is cool. But then now you get to the point of iffiness of that responsibility level. Like, everybody has access to your platform. There's no limitation to access to your platform. Great that you got the ability to express yourself freely, but then we got so many eyes. Every kid has a laptop. Every kid has an iPhone, a cell phone, a tablet or something, and can access content anywhere. Like, do you feel that at any point would ever get back to censorship?
The way the direction this society is going, yeah, I think they will. Now, this is the thing.
I think so.
Yeah, man, we soft, man. We soft. This is a soft world we live in, man. We are dying to censor everything, so I think eventually we'll get there, but I'm not a fan of censorship, but like you say, it is at the individual's discretion to have some tact, you know what I'm saying? Like, and show some responsibility. I do believe, like you said, it was funny, was not offensive to me, but at the same time, I can understand how someone would be offended by it because, truthfully, like, for me, I don't follow a lot of the skits, but it was one of the more vulgar skits I ever seen, you know what I'm saying, on YouTube, put it that way,
Yeah.
on social media. Like, and it was just basically because he was under the covers on top of this girl in the words he was saying. It wasn't like beating around the bush. It was very direct and to the point. It was clear, you know what I'm saying? So I'd never seen a skit be that direct, you know what I'm saying? Whether it was the words right. And with the video, with the imagery, you know what I'm saying? Like, most of the time, everybody shows some creativity with it. It was, I hate to say ha stuff. It wasn't creative. It was funny, but it wasn't creative. You know what I'm saying? Because it was direct.
It was straightforward. Yeah, it was straightforward. It was straightforward. And, and honestly, there's times
go back
where
to the old conversation. That's why a lot of the older generation be mad with people with the newer generation. It just feels like, hey man, they ain't creative. You know what I'm saying? I remember like generation before us being mad because the music. We started being straightforward in the music, like just saying what it was. Back in the day, they worked hard, like, make my love come down and stuff. Then we just straightforward, hey man, it's wet. Like, and now he just straight up saying what he doing with the video of it. So it is a matter of showing some tact because you have to be responsible for understanding this is a platform where everybody can see it. If it's a paid platform, it's different. You get all those off on your Patreon or whatever else that you may have. But YouTube is kind of like, I said to you, I'm surprised YouTube let this one fly.
Right. But hey, we're honestly at a point to where with YouTube, I remember when the music videos on YouTube, everything was censored. You know what I'm saying? And people was in an outrage about it. Like, man, the song, I can't hear the song the same or listen to this regular, or it'd be a block for this video or a block for that video. And you couldn't, get your content off. But now all that's gone. All that's gone. You can barely find a Like, do they even do clean versions of songs anymore?
They do, but they're hard to find. But they do.
Hard to find.
Yeah, you can find.
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, I haven't tried to look, but I'm just wondering. Like, I don't think I ever came across.
Most artists will have it. If you ever see an artist's YouTube channel that's got the same song up there twice, that means one of them is the clean version. That's usually the version with less views in most cases.
I mean, which I get it. Some like it does water down the song a lot. And I remember back in the day, like when we used to have the radio version, and then you get the album version, and you're like, yo, these songs are two completely different songs. It felt like, and typically you say I like the dirty version better anyway, but because it's more raw, it's more true to what they was trying to do.
Real version, yeah,
it's the real version. It is the real version, but it's like it felt like back in the day we went out of our way to make sure we kind of censored. I don't know if it was more because it was forced or if it was, artists feeling a sense of responsibility. Let me go ahead and create this so I can make sure that I have some kind of ability to be large scale, I guess, more broad with who I'm, who my audience is, because I have this censored version. Now I don't think they care. It's like, hey, you're gonna get the rawness through and through.
Right.
No matter what demographic you are. Like, is there even a need for it now? Do we feel like there's a need for it? Or are we becoming numb to the idea of it? Like, does it matter anymore?
It's hard, man. It's a fine line that's got to be figured out amongst all of it, right? Because back in the day, we weren't no better. You know what I'm saying? Like, that. If you look back at here's an example. Remember Blank Man, right?
Yeah.
Shoot, Damon Wayans was catching erections the whole movie, and hunching over. But that was an adult joke. They didn't show the wood. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
Kids wouldn't have really known what that meant. It was a line drawn. It was vulgar, but it was still a certain discreetness. It was an inside joke. It was still an inside joke.
It was more a situation that you had to catch, and only if you knew, because you had some kind of life experience, you'll catch it.
Yes.
But if you're naive and you're innocent or whatever, it might go over innocent eyes or innocent. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You're not
they'll
gonna see
laugh,
it,
but they won't even know what they laughing at. They won't understand it.
Yeah.
But in Ha-Ha's situation,
you know exactly what it is.
I know exactly what it is. You laying on top of this girl and you telling me very vulgarly what it is. So it's one or the other. Either you don't get to be visually vulgar, or either you don't get to be word vulgar. Or it's got to be, in order to keep it artistic for all eyes, it's got to be some kind of balance to that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, where everybody ain't gonna get it. Either you watch your language and you talk in code if you're gonna be on top of it, or either you don't be on top of her. You know what I'm saying? And maybe you have the camera laying on the pillow and looking at your face, and the camera is through her point of view, but you're saying those thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
But to be zoomed out and me looking at you on top of this girl say that stuff, it hit different. You know what I'm saying? Like, versus how they would have done it in the 90s, and he just going but you don't see nothing. Today they would just put the whole wood in his pants. You know what I'm saying? And the joke would be very clear. You know what I'm saying? What it is.
Right. It's like no guessing to it, no guessing games to it.
No guess. Hey, but look, check it out. Even in the 2000s, going back to Chappelle, he did a sex joke like that, where he was on top of the girl in the Wrap It Up segment.
Mm-hmm.
He was humping the girl, and then he got off top of her, and then he shot the condom in the trash can and said, Kobe. Like,
Classic.
Funny. But it was on network television. It was on, Chappelle Show came on at 10 o'clock at night, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. Yeah. And it was on a paid network. And even then with the joke, it was really no words. You saw him on top doing the little hump thing, but the joke wasn't even about the sex. He wasn't talking necessarily. It was the girl
you
saying
didn't get
wrap it up.
you didn't get the vulgarities of the idea of it.
You got the visual, but you didn't get the vulgarities of it. Yeah, because it really was the joke. The punchline was how the award shows make people wrap up with this music. So they were given different scenarios it would occur in if they put this out as a product. So he wasn't.
Yeah. So that's the aim of the joke. Yeah, because the aim of the joke wasn't necessarily the act of what he was doing. I mean, yeah, the act, but the idea of the wrap it up was the main point, the main punchline of the joke. But like with Ha, the whole joke was, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly what you
the interaction.
And I'm telling you about it.
Yeah, exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, man.
The balance is still lost, but funny, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I don't know. I don't know. As far as the censor thing, I don't want to be the one to say, hey, man, you got to censor that. But at the same time, because once you start censoring one person, you got to censor us all. And I'm not a fan of the censorship thing. I wish that we would self-censor ourselves to an extent. Just show some respect. On the right platform, be as nasty as you want. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, Def Comedy Jam, nasty as you want, but you just couldn't get that anywhere.
It was an HBO, whatever, you know what I'm saying? You had to have a certain subscription to this network, and then at the same time, when it aired,
like
it wasn't accessible for everybody. Yeah. It wasn't accessible to everybody. Because the thing is, like, the part that sparked the idea or the thought of the whole question is the lack of censorship plus the
accessibility,
the availability, accessibility, like the wide accessibility. So you lessen the censorship, then expand the accessibility. How can you have both? You know what I mean? Yeah. Before you had heightened censorship, and then lessen accessibility, and now you're tearing down both towers.
Right?
How can you have both of those coexist?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, and then you think about it, even with the albums, right? Like, you had to have an adult buy your albums. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, for sure.
Even then, it just wasn't available to the younger generation. So if they would let you hear that, they will let you hear that. If you go back to old Red Fox records, you know what I'm saying? Kids had to go sneak and listen to it, like, you know what I'm saying, from finding it in their parents' record because they couldn't get it. It wasn't accessible. Like, so
like, and matter of fact, check this out. Like the whole idea of media, movies. You know what I'm saying? R-rated movies. You had to be an adult, 17 or older, or get your parents' permission when you're with your parent. Now you got R-rated movies coming right to Netflix. You click, boom, you're good to go, right? Same thing with music. You had to get to the store. You know what I'm saying? If you're 10 years old, you're not driving yourself to the store, to the record store, whatever. And then you had to get permission to get that music. But now you got the heightened accessibility. I'm 10 years old. I got my phone. Boom, whatever I want to hear, right there in my palm.
Right, and when it's YouTube, of course, a parent has ways to put parental locks on their information, but at the end of the day, if the kid sign out and go to a regular YouTube channel, just YouTube on his school computer, he got access to it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
it's too many ways around it. It's too many ways around it. So you can't do much to protect your children as a parent. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm.
It's just.
But here's the thing, like, and I'm sort of guilty of this too. Do we even care to protect our children from certain things? Do we even care for our children to be censored as much as we were, or our parents try to make sure that we were, being guarded?
Do you know what?
So a lot of times I let music fly in the car.
But look at it this way. You say how much our parents tried. I don't know how much our parents did try for my generation. They just didn't have to worry about stuff as much.
You're
so
right.
It naturally occurred. Like, I don't remember my parents really fighting me on the music I listened to, but they didn't listen to it. So I had to get my hands on it however I could. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I didn't want, like how you say you let music fly in the car with your kids, and I do sometimes too. But the music they were listening to that they grew up on didn't have that stuff in it. So when they were with me, they didn't have to protect the music.
Don't worry about that. Yeah.
So when I'm in the car listening to the music I grew up on, I came up on, it's not clean. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I gotta be concerned about that. Parents didn't have to worry about fight them fights. You know what I'm saying? So did they protect
and the thing
us,
that gets
or
me,
was it just naturally occurred?
Naturally occurred. I mean, and then you got a point there. But from my standpoint, like I don't censor my children as much because a lot of times, like if I have a song and I'm listening to in the car or whatever, I'm like, they already heard this before, or they done heard worse. You know what I'm saying? I'm not shielding them from anything that they haven't had access to before. So why skip this song or turn this off or not listen to this or whatever? Because I'm like, they've already they know what they've heard that word. They've heard this being said. They've heard this song already in its rawest form. Why skip the song, or why not play it, or why shield them from it if I already felt like they've been exposed to it? So, all right, well, let it fly.
Yeah, and on the flip side, I mean, like I know, kids gonna get it. Like I just got done saying, I had to get it however I could get it back in the day. So if I was getting it, finding ways to get it in a tougher time to get it, kids are going to get it one way or the other. And you got to ask yourself, where would you prefer your kids to get it from? Yourself in the house where you can at least give a lesson on it in the process? Or do you want them to get it in the streets? You know, you pick your poison at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, right now, in this day and age, they're going to get it both ways. You know what I'm saying? There's almost no way for us to keep them from it. And so they're going to get it from us, and then they're going to get it on their own, you know? So it's just balancing both of it, you know?
So let me ask you this, because just so I can understand clearly on your end, are you a fan of the idea of censorship in regards of, are you or are you not? We'll just start there.
I'm not a fan of censorship.
Okay.
But I would prefer that the individual artists, so like, just like I spoke about, you know, saying tearing down both towers and then not having wide accessibility, less censorship. Not a fan of censorship. I believe anybody should be able to express and say whatever it is they want to say. Honestly, I don't care, especially artistically, especially if it's artistically.
Right.
Now, if you're just doing it just to be a menace to society or whatever, no, I'm not okay with that. But like, if you have artistic expression and you have to say whatever you need to say, however you need to say it, by all means, get it off. But then at the same time, I just wish the accessibility wasn't so easy. Like it just wasn't so broad. That there has to be some kind of buffer system in the censorship. Like not everybody should have access to everybody's creative expression, because everybody's creative expression is not going to be digested the same for each individual. Everybody has different levels of processing, especially as children, especially as we, you know what I'm saying, we're being shaped, molded, and these ideas are given to us. Artistically, I feel like there should be some level of I guess guarding in a sense. But by all means, get your artistic ideas off. However you feel like you need to get it off. But let's monitor still.
Right.
Got to be some kind of level of monitoring.
Yeah, I feel that. And I think for me, my final thoughts on it is I feel like some of the responsibility is on the creators, you know what I'm saying, or the content to understand their platforms and understand what they're doing. Like for
understand
us,
your platform, yeah.
We sit here and we smoke cigars and we drink alcohol every week and we talk about stuff. I know the visual of that to somebody may not be what it, you know, it might offend somebody. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. They might look at that and say they drinking and smoking on YouTube and then they sitting around critical of these other people doing this and that. But I cuss a lot in my normal everyday life. I don't cuss on this show like that. I at least have some level of respect for the idea of the visual is drinking and smoking, but the conversation is something you can listen to around your children and not have to be concerned about it. Because I choose not to do all the swearing on the show for the reason of just respecting to the listener. Every listener ain't gonna be into that. Yeah. So let me just, out of respect, I'm just gonna conduct myself like I'm in someone else's house. Because when you press play, I am in your home at this point. You and right. Yeah. So that's my point of view of it. Like, hey, find some balance in what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Still be creative, but you don't have to go all the way crazy with yours to get your point across. You know what I'm saying?
And I feel like that's where we feel like we need to be. Like some people feel like I gotta be over the top in order to be heard, in order to be seen. It's gotta offend. If it doesn't offend, I didn't do my job.
Yeah.
You know, I see that happen a lot too.
I get it. It's a lot of competition out here with content. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
An old adage that I always say is, you know, man, people you'll attract who you're going to attract, man. Or the analogy I always gives is, hey, man, there's some people like Brussels sprouts, some people like steak. You'll attract your crowd eventually. You know what I'm saying? Like over time, stay down with what you do, and those that gravitate to it is with it. But we all chasing attention, and we all chasing viral, and sensational gets you viral. I'm sure the video I sent you probably that we discussing now probably got tons of views by now, and it made him his money he wanted, and he'll look to up it at some point in time. Yeah, mission accomplished.
Yeah, censorship or no censorship, I'm in there. Mm-hmm. But so let's get to these cigars, man. You want to go with rating yours? You want me to go ahead and talk about mine? Since you already have something that's familiar.
I'll go with mine, you know, because I do have something familiar, and I'll go with something that used to be a staple of ours. So for me, Rocky Patel Edge still reminds me of why it was a staple and within our cigar world back in 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know why we kept it in the humidor. Nice, smooth cigar. Like I said, it had the cocoa woodiness to it, a little bit of spice to it, but it was smooth. Nice full body cigar, man, but at the same time, just done so well. Good aroma on it. And it's just a nice, easy ride, man. And this was a great cigar for me. I enjoyed it. I will rate it at I'll say a 4.3. You know, I'll give it a 4.3.
Solid. Nice. All right, so I'm going to get into my CAO MX2, right? MX2? Took the band off.
MX2, that was it.
Yeah, MX2. Oh, man. So I got pretty good ways down, all the way through the second third, going to the last third, the final third.
Where'd the ash land?
Right here where it's at. It just fell off like maybe a few minutes ago. Oh, an ashtray. I saw it was ready to go, so I was like, let me go ahead and let it off. But man, I wasn't gonna take ash on the lap. It wasn't gonna happen today. You gonna catch me? You gonna catch me with one?
You ain't gonna do it, Jared out here.
It'll get me one day. Trust me, we all been there.
Yeah.
But man, I'm gonna say I had low expectation, and it exceeded expectation in the very beginning. But I will say, as the smoke went, as the conversation went, it met me down at my expectation. It kind of fell down to my expectation, to where I didn't expect much from it, which is what I got. I was expecting a little bit more things to happen based on the description, but I got too much of that oiliness, and a little bit of leather started kicking in. Pepper died down, and the pepper didn't kill. It didn't kill me too much in the beginning anyway, but it did die down. But the things I was looking to enjoy out of the cigar never came. So it did kind of let me down back to my expectation. It built me up, shot me to the roof at first, like, okay, this might be something. But then slowly, puff after puff, as we got past the first third, down to the second third, it kind of got me down there. I will say that oily aroma that I was picking up, and we talked about a few minutes ago earlier on in the smoke, and I was kind of torn. I would say it's not something that I favor. Not something I favor. If I have an oily type of aroma, I'm not with it. Cigar is probably not a cigar I would pick up again. Not a fan of the
halfway
smoke.
review.
Yeah,
you said you was indifferent.
It's not there for me. I was hoping that
smoked the wallet, bro. Like,
I was hoping we was at a point to where it could still change. I was still holding on to that, but it just continued to fall to where what I expected to be let down. Gonna get the cigar. Probably we'll say a 2.7, a 2.7 on the CAO MX2.
Okay, 2.7. Ooh, now we rate 1 to 5, so that is below average. That's one of the worst ones, man. Them Gurkha scores you just put up right now. We gonna stand.
And
on
I think
that
might be it. It kind of reminded me of a little bit of a Gurkha. I would say better than a Gurkha, because Gurkha's got kind of leave you with that taste. It didn't leave me with a bad taste. I can say that. That's the one nod that I would give above Gurkha with the CAO. But if it's not flavored, I probably won't smoke CAO again.
Ooh, there you go. There you go. Man, MX2. Hate to be you, man. All right, well, y'all, we appreciate y'all for tuning in to this week's episode of the Cigars and Everything Else podcast. This was the who we say it was?
The Bo
Jackson. The Bo Jackson. The Bo knows. Bo Jackson episode. We'll get with y'all next week. We out.
Cigars up.